Hello, good afternoon. This is an update for end of the year markets for today, Wednesday, December 3rd. It is 12, my bad, it is 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time in the US. This is not going to be long. This is just to reinforce the concept that we were trying to highlight earlier today, that in thing markets and when short-term traders are in control of the market, what we can see, or the piece of information that I believe is more important, is that there are no, or there are minimal or less reduced participation of bigger time frame participants in this market. One of the things that we talk is that we actually know that there are or are not because we don't see them, right? The easier a market is to read, the less or the lower the odds that bigger time frame participants are doing something in the market. One of the first, one of the very important concepts of observations for today, or of today, or regarding today's session, was that today is a trending day, right? It's a trending day. It's a market that is trending higher. It's a trending higher. We can see that none of these lows on either Nasdaq or ES, none of the lows have been taken. Okay, we still have a trend that remains in place, that is intact, that has not ended today. Another observation that we had is that it's going to be really hard to not do anything, right? But how important that can be, right? Because this is one of the days, as we are getting close to the end of the day. Now I can say this is one of the days that it was really hard to stay just sitting in front of the screen and not doing anything, because there is nothing here, right? It is true that the market is trading higher, that we have an upside day, and that being a short side is extremely risky. It's going against what the market is doing in the short time frame. I'm going to close. Notice what the Nasdaq still had to deal with. All of these highs from the overnight that was selling, they are still there, right? But as the market goes, these are the histograms. Significant amount of volume for. I mean, when I say significant, this I think I can make a mistake here, because there is one thing that usually I don't speak to, or I don't speak about, is the time frame in which I am saying something. There is this bias that I may have, is that I may think that the other person that is on the other side of the screen knows what I'm thinking as well. And that's hard. That's also usually a bias that people that are speaking or that know something different or have the tendency to do. Right? Nasdaq, for example, has these volumes, these squares here. These are no indicators. These are small alarms that I have that tells me when volume comes, right? When volume above certain level comes, and boom, I got out. For Nasdaq, I have 400 contracts. and for the ES I have 10,000. And I can see that many times that level has been reached, and it is not coincidence that each time was as the market keeps going higher, right? And Nasdaq as well. This low, not a single low has been taken out, so there's no reason to short for me this market. As the day keeps going higher, it is weakening. The trend is weakening. We have very wide ranges here in Nasdaq. It starts to decrease, and is even each time it's getting the range of these channels or ranges are getting narrower and narrower and narrower, right? And with it there's a potential to do something like what happened here. Now many people will be expecting something like this to happen, right? And when everybody expects something to happen, you know, just at least what happening to me is I have this thing that okay, be careful here, right? Be careful. When everybody knows something's going to happen, I got to be very careful right there. Now the same thing is happening. The same thing is happening in the ES. You know, this is going higher here. This is a wide range. It's getting narrower. Now it's getting horizontal now. You have 3 lows here. No, tremendous amount of stops in this area. I guess what we have below this area, we have more stops from this one, from this one, from this one, from this one, and the potential for a firecracker effect here is huge. Now, when markets have momentum, usually there is some kind of catalytic that is necessary to trigger this virulent reversal or selling or liquidation. I don't see that happening. I haven't seen that happening today. Right? During or for this specific session, the amount of stops, the weakness below these 3 periods that are constantly buying, right? I got another one here. Maybe there can be some selling that may end around this area here also, but remember or pay attention to where it's coming, where the selling is coming from, right? Where the selling is coming, exactly from the center of the previous period. In a day that is going where the trend is to the upside, in this case is to the upside, this kind of weakness that we see in the upper side are or have more odds of being corrected, or at least to be corrected first, than the ones that I can see in the lower side. So I am doing this update just to remember myself, to put myself out here to say this. You got to be very careful here. I have done anything, literally nothing today. I was just sitting in front of the screen, organizing my desk, doing something else, whenever I have the chance or whenever I think I can. I was leaning to do something and walk out. Because there is nothing. There's a nothing day today. Also, there is no activity there's no blocks whatsoever. There's nothing here. It's empty. The last couple 2-3 days, this is empty. Absolutely nothing here. You can see this chart is empty. Blocks about 200, and this will show me activity about 200 contracts. There's nothing here, right? And volume, as you can see, this is the ES. I first check volume in the ES, and then to kind of like to compare, I also use the NYSE stock, NYSE volume, composite volume. And you can see here how low this day is relative to yesterday. Okay? Yesterday is lower. So, but again, the indices, you can see the indices, all them, right? ES, Nasdaq, Russell, and Dow are doing the same thing. They all are trending higher today. You know, I'm checking the intraday. They are all in sync. So the odds that we see some kind of rotation, some kind of liquidation today, in particular, are not that good. Are very low. Not zero, but are significantly in the lower side. Again, to recap, the Dow has weakness. It is a strong. It is kind of like breaking out of this range to the. It's kind of like a strong here. Let me show something different here, and it is, the time frames. Right? If I am going to multiple time frames, weekly, monthly, because that's what I have here. I have the monthly, weekly, and daily time frames. So this is the ES. Notice that the monthly time frame is to the lower side now. The weekly is trending higher, and we have a range here. We have a range here with a breakout that's happening as we speak in the ES. Nasdaq also has a downside trend in the weekly. I will expect, I will not be surprised to have upside continuation here and having some kind of really tight battle around this high here in the monthly time frame. I wouldn't be surprised with that. We have this range here, kind of like around the center of the range, to the upside in the weekly, and establishing or starting an upside trend in the daily as well, with a big weak base here around the 50. Now the interesting part is Russell and Dow. Right? The Russell actually, this is interesting here. The Russell actually has taken back the previous month. Okay, it is higher in the weekly as well, and it is starting. Remains to be seen here if we have upside continuation towards this, because that's the last thing here now. This is the all-time high for Russell. Okay, so all time frames are in sync for Russell, and the Dow is still higher in the weekly, the monthly, higher in the weekly, and higher starting a new trend, right? Or resuming the trend in the daily. So we have a divergence here. We have ES and Nasdaq, which are the strongest indices relative to Russell and the Dow, because the Dow has only 30 companies, 30 stocks there. Russell is small cap, and Nasdaq has the biggest companies on it. Right? This is pretty much a market that is being held by 7 or 8 companies, right? Because what we can see in the indices, we don't see it in the market throughout, or in the market overall, or throughout. It's not evenly distributed, right? If we remove those 7, 8 companies or big ones from Nasdaq, the market is actually to the downside. So there's a tremendous divergence there. And something that really catches my attention here, it's kind of like, these are the times in this, and it's going to last, I suspect it's going to last maybe a couple of weeks, 2-3 more weeks, in which it's going to be very hard to do anything, or also very hard to remain unfazed for whatever the market is doing, and FOMO can take control. What I'm checking here is gold. Let's maximize this chart. So so and this may have an impact, a big impact in what I do, what we do in trading. Because I have here gold, crude oil. This is crude oil here. Gold. I mean dollar. The dollar index. And the bond market. There is a clear trend here to the downside in the in crude oil, right? And there is a base here that's selling coming from 50s, but as I say, I don't look too much at these kind of like values in crude oil regarding trade, because I link that to the economy. It can be even in a national economy and even worldwide economy. What happens is if there is no demand in crude, this naturally will keep its way going its way lower. If this one is tested here, if this level is tested, it can break hard through this, right? Because what can happen is, you cannot just force countries to buy more oil because there's no use for it. And the second thing is, and especially now that the U.S. is Venezuela, there is something going on over there as well. As if oil prices drop, right? There's another thing that can happen, right? Because there's a lot of economies that depend heavily on oil, especially Russia right now. That if they see that happening, they will just drill more because they need the money, and if they flood the market with more oil, this can go even lower. And the dollar, this is a very interesting case here, right? It can be linked to this one as well, right? Because that can come here. The money that is not here can come to this market or even to gold as well, right? And this can have an impact in the market overall, because remember there's a 5K here that everybody's looking at, but to get over there, I think there needs some spike. If this market and this one help, if the dollar helps, and then we have crude oil here, right? We have crude oil here. That's below the barrel. The being, this gold market will start to see more capital coming in here, and where the money is coming from? Gotta ask this question. And I think that Bitcoin, it will come from the market, right? Which can drop, right? And Bitcoin is heavily related. Whatever the market does, the Bitcoin also does that. And I think Bitcoin is the reason why this market has not rocketed to the moon 2 to 3, 4 years ago. If this happens, if this starts to go low, I don't believe really in this. I got my reasons. But money can come out of this market and come into this one as well. There is a trend. There's a trend in bond market, right? They're still inside a big range here. We can see a formation here. What this can be, a big one here as well. There's nothing really concrete or that's popping here, right? There's definitely. It seems like everybody's waiting for something to happen. The more, how can I say this? If this is a market, at whatever level it is, if this start to crater in the market, I'm not talking about the bonds, this is just a market overall, right? The stock market starts fall. Everybody is heavily invested in the market, right? The door for which, you know, everybody has been saying the past 2, 3, 4 years, if anything bad happens, well, let me just go to sell when things start to go south, right? Good luck feeding it into the door, right? If that happens. But the thing here is we never know when something is going to happen. Never know, right? Nobody knows that. You will see now. You start seeing companies, experts predicting the ES is going to reach 750,000, 7,500, right? Another is going to get over here. Another group is saying that it's going to collapse, and you will find if you have a beer or you have a bull mindset, you will find a reason. You will find your expert that is going to back up whatever you think. Right? I rather prefer to see what the market is doing, because what matters to me is what I see here. Right? These little bars here are printed because there are contracts that have been bought. That have been bought and sold at these specific levels in these indices. And I do only, ES. I do trade futures only. That's the only thing I do. And specifically 90, 80, 90, 95% of my activity is concentrated on the ES. Sometimes I started to do Nasdaq as well, but it is just a little fraction. I don't do too much. I think it's very thin. It can go against you really far. You have to have really wide stops or wide areas to start a trade. When I try to trade this market, it has to work. Whatever I do, it has to work fast, and it has to develop really, really fast, right? Because otherwise, I am not that familiar with that market. Right? And again, going back to the last thing I was saying, everybody is, you will find this time of the year, everybody doing predictions that are can be outrageous, predictions that can be very logical. We will find what we want to hear. Got to be very careful here. Especially as I say, the next 2-3 weeks, or getting into the end of the year. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let's go back to the indices. No, it is. This is not, as I say, this is not unusual. This level here has been corrected. I'm going to erase that. This weakness here, this 2Y week has been corrected, but it is just like that. Now, this is something normal. Now, coming or going into tomorrow's session, I will have something here as an important reference. It's going to be this pullback low here. Right? Notice that Nasdaq has not repaired the weak. It has actually added some weakness on the lower side. Let me put this one here. Why I have this arrow here? That's because this is two lows very close together. There's no excess there. I'm going to use also this low because it's coming from saddle. And finally, current M period low as well, and use this reference tomorrow as a late pullback. I mean, assuming it closes here, right? Modify text as late pullback low, late pullback low. All right. I say that these kind of highs usually are fixed before these lows, right? But those are just odds, right? Have better odds in this kind of days of being repaired, but remember, those are just odds. I'm just thinking probabilistic terms. Now the shorts, the traders that have been short in the market all day long, now they are piling here. Oh no, finally we are going to have something. We are going to close the day in the same way as we opened, right? But that is just that would be lack of context, lacking context. Late pullback low. And why I have this late pullback low? Because if the market, it will show me tomorrow as the market opens, if this was just some rebalancing of this long inventory, or if the market opens below this will be something serious now, right? In this case, to the downside, and all because of this just what seems to be now a very insignificant reference. Notice how volume has started to pour down here. No, very unlikely that it's going to get far from this reference here. No, very unlikely, really. I have more volume coming down here on the Nasdaq. Let me put that one. Let me add another one here. Yeah, you have more there, so okay. No excess in the upper side in Nasdaq. Tiny, really minimal excess in the ES. Oh, something I thought was important to highlight is what we have, right? This is the ES. These charts in the upper side are the ES, and the three in the lower side in Nasdaq. Both the same, right? Here you have TPOs, histograms, 30 minutes histograms and daily histograms in this side, right? One above the other one. What I've noticed, what I have above in Nasdaq, there's emptiness here. There's absolutely nothing here. Right? It really takes nothing for Nasdaq to go through this. I see the market. I see Nasdaq struggling there. Right? It seems like it needs volume here. Right? Even it starts. But what can happen in this market? No. Can you see what is forming here? The next thing what you may see is something forming from here, right? In this range, or maybe going up and down, or maybe going higher and establish another one in this side. But there's nothing here, and also there's nothing. I believe there's the next area that this market can aim is this one, right? Look at this heavy volume up here. It is very close to where I think Nasdaq has a gap here in the upper side. I believe, yes, it has a gap right there. If I check the ES has nothing. Right? Also, ES has nothing above this. Is emptiness here, empty, absolutely whites here. You will need to pour some volume in these areas to target this one. To target this accumulation, that heavy accumulation that I see up there. Below is leaving, just look at these whites, right? Whites down here. There's medium volume here, more whites here. Now in the upper side, the same distance that I have that I can see towards this high here. It's about the same distance that I have I can see towards 67, 70. Now, if there is there's a clear trend or clear level or clear reference now, which makes this movement actually weaker, is 6800. Where is 6800? Right here. Yeah, market is buying from 6800, which is something I really doesn't give me too much confidence about the movement. Salesforce was something everybody was waiting to. It's behaving, it's having a rally here. all right. What else, man? Well, that's it. That's just an update. That's a little update I wanted to put up there. Um, if if you don't journal your experience, and what I do these streams also is when you speak, right, when you write, you just you have to organize your ideas, right, and it is easy to recall information when you talk about that rather than just think of that idea. Okay, I see this happening. I got this pullback law, for example. There's very obvious reference, right? Everything's obvious piece of information to remember for tomorrow, right? Or what happened during this day. After 2, 3, 4 days, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, I will forget what happened today. But if I write it down, or if I speak about that, that information is going to be easier to be accessed when it's necessary, right? When the market do its thing. Okay. I don't have anything else to say. I hope you have a good day. I haven't done anything today. I didn't do anything. It was completely flat throughout the day. I'm going to add another. I have something here. This can be important, and this is, I am starting to observe Nasdaq, how these markets move, right, or behave. This volume that's coming here is coming at the low of, kind of like around the low L period or M period, which will be around this area, right? You see, yeah, a little bit higher than this pullback. I don't need to be exact here. Kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. 68, 61.50, 62.50, actually a little bit higher if I want to be exact, which I don't care. And notice there is something else here. Check it out. There's same amount of volume, some heavy volume coming in the run-off period. Oh, this is not just any ordinary volume. Look at that, man. This is 25,000. This is huge. Huh. All day. I think this is going to be important. Okay. This is all. I have been all day long here just for. Oh boy, this can be actually really important here. How can I do? I don't have blocks. Oh, look at this. Oh, God. Look at the. Okay. I'm going to put another chart here. This is. No, it doesn't look good. Here it look good. This volume that I see here. The same alarm I have this. This is a bid and ask, not delta. Right, tremendous positioning to the upside, to the downside here. To the upside, this volume here actually is to the downside, but these ones are to the downside as well. Huh? Interesting. But notice what the market does. It seems it tried to recover and is some sort of selling. This is really interesting here, right? And it's not it goes against everything here, because what I see here, right? What we see, what you will see, what anybody would think this can be just absorption, right? This trying sell, to sell, liquidate this inventory, and there's some buying come here. But what I can see here is actually some selling. Huh. But it's mixed, right? You can see these arrows to the upside. I guess I'm going to change the color of these arrows so I can differentiate it better. Yeah, I want to do that. Or maybe add a plus sign, plus minus sign, something like that. This is interesting, huh? This is really interesting. I think this is the most important piece of information that I can highlight from the whole day here. Alright, I need to do something here because this is going to go away sooner or later. I'm just gonna add another, because this is high volume. I'm going to add another one here. Oh, here. Okay, this is after the market has closed and really want to 61 to 62.50. A little bit higher action. Let's do this better. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, and this one actually is a little bit higher. This is in the next. It is here. Alright, let's save this for later. Edit or whatever. Oh, my bad, that's not where are you? Where is my this one? Okay, files, save as. Okay, let's save it just in case in my hard drive as well. Where are you? Sierra. Okay, save. Okay, got it. Okay, look at the highlights. Look at the talking heads, right? Stocks higher for 7 seasons. 7 of 8 sessions are market is trending high. That's not false, but add context to that, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really narrow range here. I think this is going to be really relevant tomorrow. What do we have tomorrow? Do we have any news? And this is part of the job. Thursday. Ooh, we have weekly jobless claim. That can be interesting at 8:30. Alright. This week, what else? Monday. Let me check what else do we have? Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Jobless claims, continuous jobless claims, initial jobless claims, 4-week bid auctions, very short time. Balance of trade export. Okay, no. Gotta be aware also any piece, any kinds of exogenous event that may alter this market. All right, guys. I hope you have a good day. As I say, I don't have anything else to say. We market has look and coming into or going into tomorrow's before I close the day. This is the two markets tail now. Okay, these markets are quite different now, and I have a range in Nasdaq in the US. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. The market has looked above the range. Very careful, okay? This can be important. This can be a relevant piece of information for tomorrow, where the market opens relative to this late pullback low. Okay, if it opens below, I will pay special attention to remember this hard back where it came from. But we have above that, there's significant position here that has happened in the past, and if the market comes back in that scenario, come back inside this range, it actually may target the opposite side of the range. Not saying that's going to happen. Right. Nasdaq is a little bit different because now we have a 2-day range, no excess in the upper side, has taken the upper side of yesterday's range, a really weird, weak trend day here, right? And it's breaking out of this 2-day range, which was the high of a bigger 3-day range here. But this is the short week that we had last week. Right, so I'm not quite sure if I will consider this a range, but this is 2-day range above another 2-day range, very mechanical. I think the risk here is very high in this market. It's very high. I wouldn't touch this market until I see something, and if I have anything, I would be very careful letting the market go against me, right? If I don't see something quick, I will just get out, the heck out of the way. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe. I hope I can see you tomorrow. Bye bye.